Good evening. It couldn't get much worse on London's tube network as workers unhappy about pay and conditions walked out on strike. And the impact was huge. Trains were often nowhere to be seen, stations were closed and patients wore thin at bus stops. The strike, which will last most of the week, is making life difficult for commuters. The RMT union says the action is essential because members are worried about shift patterns and working too many hours. All this under a mayor who, during his election campaign in 2017, vowed he would end tube strikes if he were elected. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Trying to catch a bus was not for the faint-hearted. This was Paddington, where those who could squeeze in counted themselves lucky. Those who couldn't had a long wait.
I took a bus from where I am, I'm in Redbridge, all the way to Ilford, then from there Elizabeth line in. So I've been travelling nearly 3 hours now.
I'm guessing that this is the bus stop for the 27, but there's no sign of it on the board, and I don't know where I'm going.
I tell you what the solution is, driverless trains and sack the damn lot of them.
At the Piccadilly line depot at Northfields in Ealing, nothing was moving. Almost all of the tube was at a standstill, forcing Londoners to find other ways to work. Nowhere was the pressure on the rest of the transport more evident than here at Paddington. It's just after 8 o'clock in the morning, and the escalators to the Elizabeth line are swamped. At one point, commuters were stopped from going down to the platforms because of overcrowding. London's bike hire schemes came into their own, although they weren't much use to some travellers. Helen, Lindy, Robert and their luggage landed in London after a long flight from Australia.
We are trying to get to King's Cross, so we got the Heathrow Express, and then they said catch a cab, that would be quicker. But we went to the line where the cab was and it was very, very long.
This is what should have been a smooth transition, is a bit chaotic.
There were a handful of shuttle services on parts of the Central, Northern and Metropolitan lines, but that was it. Tube workers have been offered a 3.5% pay rise, but talks involving the RMT union are deadlocked. The stumbling block is the union's demand that its members should work fewer hours. Instead of a 35-hour week, the union wants a 32-hour week. And instead of 5 days, it wants a 4-day week. The union claims some tube workers are exhausted.
We're back to the passenger numbers pre-COVID, 5 million journeys a day. We're doing that with 2,000 fewer staff. And what that's done is it's put a lot of pressure on people. The shifts have become more extreme. Dead early starts, 4 in the morning, 1 a.m. finishes, working around the weekends and bank holidays.
Well, TfL have made clear that they can't afford their workers working fewer hours for more pay, but they are willing to talk to RMT and other trade unions whenever there's a dispute to try and resolve things amicably. Ultimately, these sorts of differences are resolved amicably. That's why I'd encourage the RMT to get back around the table.
TfL says the tube won't be back to normal until mid-morning on Friday. Simon Harris, ITV News, West Brompton.
And the strike isn't over yet. Simon, we're going to have to get used to all this disruption, at least for a few more days.
Getting around London has been quite a challenge today, and tomorrow could be even more difficult. Because alongside the strike on the Underground, there's a strike on Tuesday and Thursday on the Docklands Light Railway. It also involves the RMT, but this one isn't about hours, it's about pay. The union has rejected the same 3.4% it's prepared to accept, it would seem, for underground workers. Now, it's clear many people chose to work from home today. Transport for London says the number of tap-ins involving Oyster and contactless cards was down by a fifth. Far more people were on the buses and on the overground, much busier than normal, as too was the Elizabeth line, with the number of people using it up by a third. Interesting statistics too from some of the bike hire companies. Lime Bikes said its usage was up 60%, Boris Bikes up 70%, and another one, Forest E-Bikes, said the number of people using its bikes was up by 120%. But it's been good weather today. It might be less attractive to go by bike when it rains later in the week. For more information on how the disruption might affect you, go to itv.com/London.
Now, the dust is still settling from Angela Rayner's dramatic resignation from the government last week, but could her vacant deputy leader role be filled by a London MP? Well, Clapham MP Belle Ribeiro Addy has become the first to announce that she was in the running. And today, Islington's Dame Emily Thornberry confirmed that she has also joined the race. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Belle Ribeiro Addy.
Bel Rabiro Addy is one of 2 London Labour MPs who've set their sights on one of the party's top jobs. She was elected by voters in Streatham in 2019 and was a prominent voice following the police shooting in her constituency of Chris Cabba, an unarmed man. Rabiro Addy, a close ally of Diane Abbott, is on the left of the party and a critic of some government policy. Today she joined the race to replace Angela Rayner as Deputy Labour leader.
At the moment, what we're putting out, I don't believe, is what the members want to see and the voters. We're having a really tough time of it because of things like the welfare cuts.
Are you Sir Keir Starmer's worst nightmare?
No, I'm not Keir's worst nightmare. I've never been Keir's worst nightmare. I actually get on quite well with Keir. I get on quite well with people right across the party. I don't believe in personal attacks.
The other London MP to throw their hat in the ring is Islington South's Dame Emily Thornberry. She was a member of Labour's shadow cabinet in opposition, but wasn't given a minister's job in the government. Tweeting on X, she said, "We fought hard for a Labour government, but we've made mistakes and must listen. Welfare, Gaza, wealth tax, changes to come on send." The contest to replace Angela Rayner, who resigned last week after an unpaid stamp duty scandal, has already angered some on the left. Potential candidates only have until Thursday to secure 80 nominations from fellow Labour MPs. Bel Rabiro Addy called the process undemocratic. One London MP who's ruled herself out is Brent Eastbourne Butler. She has her eyes on another prize, City Hall. Would you like one day to be Mayor of London?
I think if the possibility arises, that would be a dream and an honour for me to be Mayor of London. I'm a Londoner through and through. I'm committed to London and, you know, I'm doing so much work in London.
But for now, there's no vacancy. Sir Sadiq Khan has yet to reveal whether he plans to fight a 4th election. Bel Rabiro Addy and Emily Thornberry will find out later this week if they're on the shortlist for Deputy Leader. Simon Harris, ITV News, Westminster.
Our political correspondent Simon Harris is here now. So Simon, any sign of light at the end of the tunnel here?
Well, certainly no sign of talks, far from it. The TfL bosses say they'd like to meet the union, but they can't accept the RMT's precondition, and that is that there must be a discussion about cutting the working week from 35 hours to 32 hours. TfL says that's simply unaffordable. There's no point talking about it. Meanwhile, at the TUC Congress in Brighton today, the RMT leader called on the Mayor, Sadiq Khan, to convene a summit.
You're the Mayor of London. You're the chair of TfL. Stop going on social media. Invite us to the meeting. Let's have a discussion because I want to know what is going on in London. We are in a total collapse of industrial relations in London right now. And I've got to be clear, we're going to end up with more strike action, not less.
Certainly no signs from City Hall yet that the Mayor is ready to intervene. For people trying to get around London today, there was a little light at the end of the tunnel. TfL said something like 90 stations were open. A third of the tube network was running, but only at the extremities of certain lines like the Central Line and the Northern Line, the Hammersmith and City and the Metropolitan Line. But it was a better service than Monday, so at least a little bit of movement.
OK. Simon, thank you.
After 5 days of misery for commuters in the capital, finally a potential olive branch. TfL have offered to meet with union bosses next week in a bid to resolve their dispute over working hours. Earlier today, the Tories accused the Mayor of failing Londoners over the strikes, which he admitted had been bad for London. From our studio in Westminster, here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Londoners don't need reminding just how difficult travelling in the capital has been this week. Roads gridlocked, trains and buses rammed. Sadiq Khan's political opponents have been calling on him to intervene to try to broker a peace deal. Even the leader of the RMT suggested the Mayor should chair a summit, but so far he's declined. However, one glimmer of hope emerged this afternoon when Transport for London invited union negotiators to meet them next Wednesday. Earlier at City Hall, the Conservatives said the Mayor needed to roll up his sleeves and they reminded him of a past intervention.
Do you think, Mr Mayor, that when you threw £30 million at the unions last time, that you should have maybe put in some conditions on that? Or do you think that was a good use of public money?
Because of inflation reaching record levels, it wasn't possible for the Met Police Service, the London Fire Brigade or Transport for London to meet the pay that would have kept up with the inflation levels. So we stepped in on all three of those organisations, and I don't apologise for 1 second.
Why are you not rolling up your sleeves anymore?
What we've seen is a situation where skilled negotiators from TfL are talking to RMT up until the strikes began, and I'm confident those talks will resume once the strikes are over. Look, strikes are ultimately a sign of failure. That's why it's important to resolve these.
Well, I'm glad you recognise your failure. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor.
On the late debate, we'll discuss the RMT's demand for a 32-hour working week, as well as weighing up the Prime Minister's mounting problems. After a summer dominated by migrants, the loss of his deputy leader, and now Peter Mandelson, how is his reset going? And we'll look ahead to Donald Trump's visit to Windsor. That's the late debate on ITV1 after news at 10.
We're just days away from Donald Trump's second state visit and all the pomp and pageantry that comes with it. They're getting ready in Windsor and rolling out the red carpet for the US president. But as our political correspondent Simon Harris reports, not everyone is pleased to see him.
Windsor is used to visitors and knows how to put on a show. Next week, the eyes of the world will be on this royal residence and tourist town as the King and his castle host Donald Trump. Dina and Lorraine live not far away and can't wait.
Me and my daughter are going to come, Lorraine's going to come, we're going to come next week. Yeah, we want to see him arrive.
Lisa is an American tourist.
Well, I would hope that the people would be congenial and respectful, and we hope the best for both the UK and America and the world.
In the town centre pet shop, one doggy toy especially is flying off the shelves.
Obviously, with Trump coming here very soon, we have Trump toys that actually squeak. So, so he's been a very big seller for us. They are called pet hate toys, but not all dogs destroy their toys.
There's no doubt the President's visit, no matter how controversial, will be good for business. The media circus alone will guarantee every hotel room is booked.
Once again, Windsor is going to be on the media, which is fantastic, on global media, and we're really looking forward to having all the good stuff around us.
But the town is also bracing itself for protests. The organisers of an anti-Trump demonstration are hoping thousands of people will take part.
Our target here is not Donald Trump himself. He is who he is. Our problem is what he is doing in the world and what he's doing in his own country. And we want to empower and give hope to people who want something different, who want to oppose that.
That worries even some political opponents of the Trump regime.
This visit, I worry, could embarrass His Majesty the King, and we in Windsor, we love His Majesty the King, and we don't want to see any protest that is aimed at Donald Trump somehow tainting His Majesty.
The President has been here before. The late Queen hosted him at the castle in 2018. Responsibility for the VIP visitors' security falls to Thames Valley Police. But perhaps the President's best protection is the venue. Windsor Castle is, after all, a fortress. Simon Harris, ITV News.